Have you ever been juiced? I mean, like super excited for a new setup. I finally got some things together that I wanted to get together. I got this new 49-inch Samsung OLED, whatever the hell this is, but then it came with this defect. I didn't turn it on until I plugged everything in, and there you go. So now I'm stuck with this monitor that's broken, so I have to return it. I was gonna do a traditional type of video, but here we are. I'm vlogging from my phone again for actually a good reason. I can't really do anything on that computer. I guess I can use one half, but whatever. But I want to show you guys the price action of Bitcoin. Now, I mentioned to you guys in my last video that we are going to pump up. I didn't expect it to go up to 27,000. I was actually expecting us to reach my trend line again, but let's go ahead and do a technical analysis on what I think is going to happen, where I think it's going to go, and how you should trade this. All right. Let's take a look here. So I mentioned this in the past. This is the ascending channel that we're in. And these ascending channels, what they like to do is they like to break to the downside. That is a common trend. You can Google it. The probability of it breaking in any direction is most likely going to break to the downside. So that probability is in our favor. Right now, it broke to the upside. And that is something to consider. So we did break out of the trend line. That is clear as day, right? We're hanging out, excuse me, there's a coffee again. We're hanging out right above the resistance. And I mentioned that Bitcoin loves to do this thing where if it breaks above resistance, what it'll do is it'll break above, hang out there for a day or two, and then come down. So we need to see this daily close is very important on this Saturday, because if it breaks below this trend line, it might try to recapture it again, and it's going to tease with this resistance all the way until it breaks down. I'm still leaning towards a bearish bias. We have a lot of stuff coming up next week, and I think right now we trapped a lot of longs. I want to show you one more thing that I think is super important. Now, we had this ascending channel. We have two types of support on it. We have right here, this support. And I think if we touch this trend line again up here, this middle one, we'll head down and retest this one, okay? If you want to go long there, go ahead. But it's a logical place to go long, just as it's a logical place to go short here. I want to show you one more thing to back up my thesis. Let's go ahead and go to Twitter. Now, Twitter is always important to use, I guess, for news and for updates. Shout out to P-Note. I don't know if you're new to the channel, this guy's name is P-Note. He has a Discord. He links it in all of his tweets. He's a good friend of mine. Ever since I started, he's been my friend. So we message every here and there. He's a cool guy. But I want to show you some of his liquidity heat maps. These are very important because the price action will follow liquidity. I wish I had my marker on this, but I can show you one thing here. We tapped into liquidity above 25,000. There was about 16 billion in liquidity up here. We grabbed all these longs, and I think now that we have all of them trapped, now it's a time to head down to 20K. And the reason why is because if you look at the top left of this heat map, there's about 50 billion in liquidity down there. I think we'll do one last tap down there and then wash out all the longs, and then it's over. And then on a 1 month time frame, you can see we tapped into the 20 billion that was locked here at 26K. We even went up and almost went to 28K, but now we're just, most of the liquidity is down here in 20K region. So we will test 20K one more time, and I think that will tell us where we're going. In the immediate short term, 24K is on the horizon. There's 6 billion trapped in 24K, and then there's another 6 billion trapped at 20. So altogether, all in all, we had our thrust move up. Now we're hanging out at resistance. And like I said, most ascending channels, they tend to break to the downside. And that is what it looks like is going to happen here with Bitcoin. I understand it's very hard to counter trade the trend, especially because Bitcoin is one of those Bitcoin's one of those commodities that you trade that's unforgiving. I mean, if it moves up, it moves up vast, and it's just sometimes it's really hard to go against the king of all assets. I want to show you one more thing. If you look at the left hand side of the screen, you can see we've had an ascending channel in the past, and I remember trading this region back in August of 2022, and everyone thought this was kind of the bottom, or it's a bear market rally, and they thought we were going to break past this resistance at 30K, and unfortunately we did not. So this is a common theme. We're retesting this resistance for the second time. It's not enough for us to actually break it. Last but not least, if you zoom out, we go to the weekly, okay? I want to show you one more thing that I think is very plausible. Now, this is my thesis. I really think, depending on the weekly close, if we close below 25, I think we'll head lower. We have our left shoulder. I think we'll dip down, make a right shoulder, and then we'll come back and make, this is purely speculation, but I think we'll make an inverse head and shoulders and then break to the upside. And it makes sense with the thesis of us being basically in a bear market for a year or two. That's about it for today's video on Bitcoin. But let me go ahead and show you guys what I think is happening with the DXY as well. It's important to watch the DXY. On the weekly time frame, you can see that we're bouncing off a key support area. And now it's time for the DXY to do its thing. I think it's going to rally and test its highs again. We met some resistance. I think what we'll do is probably consolidate in this area and then head up higher. But other than that, DXY looks like it's still in shape for pretty much a pump. And Bitcoin just had its pump, so I think now it's time for things to switch up a bit, at least in the immediate short term. Bitcoin probably will get rejected around the 27K area. We'll consolidate in here for a bit and then head higher. This is all dependent on what the Federal Reserve decides to do on Wednesday of next week. If they decide to increase interest rates or keep them high, then that's probably going to be the case. But other than that, this is where I think the market's headed. If we get a weekly close above this $25,000 to $27,000 area, I'll switch my bias finally to a bull. But right now, even though we're pumping like crazy this week, it's important to understand that there are still some resistance and headways that we have to break. And Bitcoin's known to break them within a day or two, so it's not going to take that long to switch your bias. But this is going to be a key area to break. And then once we do, it's clear skies all the way up to around 50,000. Other than that, this is my analysis on Bitcoin. We could have bottomed out. It's still a possibility, but you have to wait for the confirmations, especially on the daily and the weekly. And good luck trading. We're hanging above this resistance, but we didn't get a daily close yet, which means that we didn't confirm the breakout. So please, please, please do not get trapped. It looks tempting to long it, but it's not the right time. You can wait for a setup. There's always a pullback, but there's never a chance to get your money back. Other than that, I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to get this thing working again. I think I'm going to return it. This kind of sucks. I really spent I don't know, maybe a couple hours setting this up, getting a new Mac just for this, but whatever. It was really nice while it was working, and then out of nowhere, it just made a popping sound and it broke. So if you guys have ever seen this happen with it's called the Samsung G9 Odyssey. I don't know if you guys have any experience with curved monitors, if they're any good or not. Maybe I should return it and not get another one. But yeah, you can see where it cracked and stuff. But anyways, good luck trading. That's my TA for today. I wish you all the best and happy Saturday.